So with our handsome Mr. O, ready, sir? We're gonna warm up with our typical, reorientation to me from the environment. So I love warming up with our find its to start. It's a great way to get your puppy with some extra energy to expend. Then they can kind of work that check back in with you from the environment. So that orientation to you is really beneficial. If again, ready, Ozzy. Yes. Then you can start to include that lovely name recognition. You could also work a little bit with some recalls. This is very pretty. So Ozzy, come. Yes, nice job, sir. Super pretty. So again, with Mr. O, we're just kind of warming up, getting him in the groove. He's been doing a really nice job doing some play earlier too. So the boys do get to rotate through some playtime together, and then obviously some play with me too. Nice. So now I'm going to go into working a little bit with that loose leash walk-in. Ready? So typically I would recommend, you can definitely pick a slogan for loose leash walking. For my guys, and he's going to go pick up the crumbs we left earlier, I normally would say with me. Other folks might say let's go or heel. If you're going to use the word heel and then maybe down the road you do want to do fancier obedience or other options like rally, I would recommend to keep the heel slogan for actual heel work, just so they don't get confused. If you're never going to do so, then absolutely no worries. I think Bodhi found his upside down bowl and he's playing with it now. He says, I'm a wild man. That's silly goose. So again, right here, get some good noise distractions. I know you had mentioned that the construction that's going on, I didn't realize how much construction. Oh my goodness, Bodhi says, would you like to play with bowls during videos? I swear the whole time they're nice and silent, and the moment I turn the camera on, just like my human children, they need something or they like to make lots of noise. So, but it's okay, it's good distractions. So right here, Ozzy, come. Nice. So he really does love some of these find its with some movement to just get him up and wiggling. And then from here, Ozzy, come. Yes, good job. So what I would love to try with him a little bit is there are some really great pattern games. It is one of the resources I had sent along a while ago, and now there's also the choo-choo train is going by, so good distractions. And Mr. B says, why won't anybody play with me in my bowl? So let's say Mr. O is going to be working a little bit with one of my favorites is called like the up-down game. These are on one of the documents. It's called Pattern Games. These are by, again, Control Unleashed is the program. Leslie, and I always forget her last name. If you want more details, I can get them to you. Oh my gosh, chewing, Mr. O. So this is a great way to start building orientation to you versus the environment. And pattern games can be really great, and I know I've dived into them here and there for some of the other previous students. Right now, I'm also just feeding Mr. O. I'm not doing the game yet. I'm just giving him feedback for doing such a nice job hanging out with me, looking at me, and settling with all four on the floor. He's getting a paycheck for this. So with some of these pattern games, they can be really great for adolescents, for pups that are a little overwhelmed or overly exuberant, because the pattern will stay the same no matter what the environment later down the road, what might be up to. So for a lot of babes, as environments get more challenging, their ability to hone in and function might go more out the window. So the two men are wrestling. Oh my goodness, chewing is so hard for Mr. O today. So with this up-down game, you're going to start off with a couple snacks. If your babe tends to look at your hands or your belly or where your hands might be in relation to food, I'd recommend to put them behind your back if you're going to try this game or others at times. So what this is going to look like in the beginning, I'm going to have my food. I'm going to feed it to Mr. O right here on the floor. When Mr. O gives me eyes, I would go yes, and I'm going to feed him for that. So it's called up down because when the dog looks up at you, the food then goes on the ground so they can restart this game. So right here, yes. So I don't care if my puppy was sitting, standing, lying down, yes. The moment Mr. O locks eyes with me, I'm going to feed him one of those crumbs. So right here, he's listening to some funny noises, yes. So I do try to mark the moment the dog looks up at me. So the moment his eyes, yes, look up into my eyes, I capture that moment and feed for it. Yes. So right now with up, down, he says, I'm a wild man. These wild boys are romping. He probably got a little squashed with some of the playtime, but nothing bad. So, because I can see them through the fencing and I can keep an eye on those wild men when needed. So again, right here, yes. So I'll do it this way so I can peek and watch both ways. Yes. So with up, down, again, finished. So if your babe doesn't always know when the game is over, I do recommend to pick a slogan for we're done training or doing some sort of skill. Typically for my guys, it's finished. I use my all done for when we're all done doing a stay. So it's whatever makes sense for you with your slogans. I'm just breaking up some of the snacks. They're a little bit smaller because some of them do come in a little bit bigger. No big deal. They're still easy enough to squish and break up into smaller tidbits for practice. So we know he loves find its. So the other option could be, as opposed to doing find its, which is just something that I like to do in general, the ping pong game is a little different because this one, as opposed to the up and down aspect of it, and notice how he's still staring into my soul for most of this. So if Mr. O is really loving going and moving to grab a snack, this is a great way to include this game. So ping pong would still be considered a moment where you're asking, well, not asking, you're waiting for them to give you eyes. So it's voluntary versus you telling them over and over, like, look, or give me eyes, or whatever it might be. So this game is going to start with, for example, tossing an item to the side. I'm going to have him go grab that. He's like, oh my gosh, I have to get up. He's so pooped out. So maybe we'll toss an extra one just to get it a little bit more exciting to get up. Sometimes we're just so pooped out during class. So right here, the moment he looks at me, I would go, yes, and then I toss the food to the left or the right. So if you find he's looking at your hands, I like to put them behind my back, yes. And this starts to create orientation just like I do with some of my other games, where some of them are from the pattern games, yes, and then others are just things that I've done over the years that I've found can be beneficial. Mr. O is going for a drink of water, which is perfectly fine. So let's say, for example, he gets a little distracted. We're just going to see if he comes back on over to me. When he locks eyes on me, so very close, right about there, yes. Then I throw the food so he can romp away and then reorient back to me. So right here, yes. Gorgeous. I know the wild men are like, what the heck, lady? When's it my turn again? So again, I'm waiting for Mr. O to lock eyes on me. And if I were to lose him, like let's say this got right there, yes, too hard for him, I might go back to an easier, like up, down, where he's nearby. So right now, I'm just waiting for those eyes to hit me. Yes. And sometimes you might toss them a few times to the right, other times a few to the left, and then start to do a little bit back and forth. So the main goal is that he has to come on over to you, give you those eyes, yes, and then you toss the food one way or the other. So this helps your puppy start to hone in on you from distraction. So notice how he's interested in my hands. What I'm waiting, yes, is for those eyes to bounce from my pouch or my hands up to my face. Oh, to go right in the crack. Oh, terrible shot I am. So that might keep him busy for a few extra seconds. So with Mr. O, the up-down game, the ping pong game, both could be great venues for creating this really nice focus on you from the environment. And then that way you can start to also include these for when things get a little bit more challenging, not scary. So if the only time we ever practice, and right now we're not taking a moment to do the pattern games, I'm just doing regular easy peasy find its. So if let's say the only time you practiced some of these skills are when you needed them with something scary, he might start to think that these games always equal here comes the spooky. So we don't want to, for example, always pair here comes scary truck with, like, let's say the up down game, because then the up down game might be the bringer of the bad, which was the scary truck noises. You may want to also take a peek-see over some of, I think I mentioned a little bit last week, but I can't remember now. If you haven't already checked it out, the Happy Hounds noise phobia video series might be a great option. I know he's not like immensely scared, but we don't want it to go in that direction where it becomes something that's more difficult for him as he's turning into a teenager. Because sometimes things that we thought they had down pat while they were puppies are not as easy now come adolescence. So because in adolescence, they might start to notice that, hey, if this is scary, oh, he's like, did you throw it? I didn't yet. Ready? Come on over here. He's like, darn. So if things were easy peasy when they were babies, but now they've noticed more difficulties in the environment or things that they now find are a little spooky, this is when a lot of times people will struggle with adolescence because now the puppies are looking more, for example, like they're having a hard time. So sometimes reactivity pops up. Other times, like social preferences will start to change as maturity happens too. So even though some of these boys and girls, or actually they're all boys, even though some are, for example, already altered and others are not quite yet because of their age group, you'll still get behaviors that will change from puppy to adolescent to adulthood. Ready? So I'm going to do another little find it. Oh, the wild man. He says, why won't we wrestle? Ready? So with Mr. O, as we're working with some of this loose leash walking, even through some of his buddies going woo woo, he's been doing a really nice job being able to hone in. He says, lady, I think I dropped that one. Nice. Very pretty. So if he's a little bit mouthy, I know we discussed too, making sure to feed like flat palm. If let's say that excitement or scary feeling or whatever big emotional response might be, the way they take their food is sometimes an inkling as to how they're feeling. So again, we might do again with a little moment here. Nice. So ready? We'll do another little find it. He says, guys, too rough, you wild men. They're like, we just can't help ourselves. Sometimes they're a little bit wilder than they need to be. Ready? So what we'll try is we'll, again, give Mr. O a little break from some of this beautiful loose leash walking. Oh, he dropped one. And then we'll work a little bit with some more of those weights versus stays and kind of reiterate what those bad boys are all about. But Mr. O did such a great job for his last day at Doggy Day School. And I am really excited that he and all his other classmates are technically going to be taking the structured play class instead now. Choking on my saliva. So we'll get a little sit. Yes. And then we'll give Mr. O a little break. Sorry, trying not to cough into the mic. And then we'll have him work another few skills in just a second.